The Square Ball Podcast.
Well, the courtroom is in session again for 2024. Have we made any changes to our legal proceedings here for the TSB jury when we make decisions? We judge the world of football.
You're in charge.
Yeah.
I want to see how you've changed this over the new year. I'm looking forward to the way you've revamped it.
Got a
No, you've had that before.
got a gavel.
No, that's been there before.
Right.
What's new?
An increased desire to get through this as fast as possible, but in the most entertaining and amusing way as possible. while persisting with an idea that I came up with to refresh this in the summer that's possibly become laboured already. Anyway, the Ken Bates Villain of the Week award, that's up first for you, isn't it? Thanks to Levi Solicitors as well for their solid legal advice in how to put this feature together. Do you think they'd want anything to do with it?
Nope.
No, all right.
Nope.
Ken Bates Villain of the Week award. You each need to step up to the legal hockey. Speaking of hockeys, we can finally do hockeys because the darts championship has been in the last few days, hasn't it? And lob some legal darts at me, the judge.
Yeah,
fine.
The public.
Yeah. Although one of the lads in the chat that we were in, because James Maddison of Spurs fame was in the crowd at the darts final, wasn't he? And there was a discussion in the WhatsApp group about lobbing a dart at James Maddison just to see. And I said it'd be interesting to see how he'd go down, given how much he goes down, clutching and screaming and stuff on a football pitch from the lightest bit of contact. What would a dart do to him?
Don't find out.
No. Oh, God, no.
You need sort of Joey Barton to join Tottenham to find that out.
It was a thought experiment, not an actual suggestion.
Yeah, speaking of going down early, just remembered this. After the Liverpool Newcastle game, I went on to find some propaganda and of imagining I would find Liverpool fans saying, "Oh, he's dived there. That's quite embarrassing." Absolutely, all of them were sticking by it, saying, "No, it's not only is it definitely a penalty, it should have been a red card."
Right.
And I was like, I wasn't expecting that. I was expecting more people to be like, "Oh, yeah, that's a really, really strange decision to go down there."
I know the whole
backing him.
I know the whole premise of like propaganda and this whole show really is about stupid partisanship, but we laugh at it, don't we? And that's ridiculous.
The whole, there was a bit of contact, but fucking hell, come on.
Is he nominated, Jota? Or
no.
Right. So
it can be.
Do you want to nominate somebody then, each of you?
Do you want to go first, Michael?
I don't know where to go on it. I mean,
well, we're looking for one villain of the week. We can assign some petty grievances, take some cheap shots. We've toyed with the idea of being able to throw people under the bus if we need to.
I'm tempted to go Wayne Rooney. He's been nominated by a few people, mainly for being Wayne Rooney, as Rory rightly says, not really a villain, a figure of fun.
That's Rory, not Jennings, by the way.
Rory, not Jennings.
To give him his full name.
But is Wayne Rooney getting a championship job again?
Some idiot will.
Not in the championship.
No?
I wouldn't be surprised.
Back to MLS?
Surely no one's giving him another job after this.
Football's full of idiots, though, isn't it? They've got no imagination.
I think, and I'm going to nominate him because I think this might be our last chance.
Right.
It's like Barney Ronay wrote for The Guardian that Wayne Rooney's problem is that he's only ever going to get a job at a club that is daft enough to employ Wayne Rooney.
It's a fair point. But yeah, I mean, he had as much as we had a good time, so he's not really a villain. I suppose I'm taking into account villainy of the previous 20 years as well.
Yeah.
He scored at Ellen Road, didn't he?
Like a Lifetime Achievement Award, really.
In his very early days for Everton as well. Left Lucas on his ass, which was very unfair.
Yeah.
Undignified to treat an ageing Lucas like that.
Yeah.
And it was not really villainous, was it, on the weekend, but it was a nice send-off for him.
Yeah, we can't give him Hero of the Week, can we?
Exactly. So he needs...
It's the Lifetime Achievement Award here, isn't it?
I think it probably is, yeah. It's for services to Scum, Derby. Over the years, he's done lots of being a shit England player and also slagging off England
as
fans at one point.
As the Earl of Sandal has said, Wayne Rooney, the walking advert for type 2 diabetes and being a burden on the NHS, so that being an advert for services to diabetes.
I don't think that's a service to I don't think getting yourself fat is a service to diabetes as such.
No.
It's an advocate of diabetes.
It's not that bad.
He's the chief spokesman.
That's what he said. So
the
yeah,
poster boy.
I think purely on the weight of past offences, Wayne Rooney.
What I really like is that, and I'm sure you might not pick this up on the recording, but we moved offices several months ago now, and they're doing the snagging list for the common areas just outside, and we can hear banging and drilling. We thought those days were over.
It just will never stop, the fucking noise.
Sorry. You won't be able to hear this, and I didn't need to flag it up, but I can hear it. And it just reminded me of worse times. As does Wayne Rooney, funnily enough, to bring it back to that. Nobby, it says, it's Rooney for being Rooney, being a useless manager, but still being dislikable.
Yeah, I mean, to not come out and just, when he'd be sacked and say, I deserved that. To say, I needed more time.
Not enough time.
More time, would it get worse?
Not enough time to make a difference. I think you did make a difference, Wayne.
Huge difference.
Quite a big difference.
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
14 places in the table.
And quickly as well, because sometimes managers come in and you think, it might take a couple of months for him to turn this around. Like flicking a switch on it with Rooney.
What was he there for? Was it 13 weeks he was there?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, so he's essentially dropped one league place every single week.
Astonishing.
Yeah.
I mean, all the points Birmingham have got, more or less, were already on the board before he got there.
Yep.
They'd be rock bottom if the table had started by the time he got there, I think.
I do wish, it is funny that he's been sacked, but I do wish they'd have given him longer just to see how badly it could have gone.
And Paddy Bamford's guaranteed golden boot suggests Wayne Rooney's coat big enough to hide 1,000 sins.
Room to grow.
Yes.
He's only a few years away from turning up in the old Steve Evans Giacomo stitched on badge one, isn't he? It's Rooney.
Just to continue the Simpsons references, it's when Homer starts wearing a poncho. Rob, do you want to nominate somebody then?
Maybe this is more throwing someone under a bus, but I suppose it's been a little while since we've done this, and probably the thing that I've been most annoyed at was Jesse Marsh talking about Leeds United again, and particularly his interview, was it with The Telegraph, which started off by saying, Jesse Marsh hasn't done much talking since he's been sacked as Leeds manager. And I just thought, it's all Jesse Marsh does. He goes on the telly, he goes on podcasts, he does...
Say some stuff without saying anything.
Exclusive interviews every week.
CBS have platformed him in the United States with a podcast.
It's not great, is it? But I think of all the things Jesse Marsh has said that have annoyed me, him suggesting Leeds were wrong to sack him by saying everything was coming together after the winter break last season when we didn't win a league game under him. Probably the most stupid thing he's said about his time at Leeds. So I think if that's your defence, Jesse, fucking hell.
It was turning around. It was just about to turn around.
Yeah, it was just turning.
That completely undisprovable thing.
Yeah. We did hear from him on propaganda this week ahead of Brendan's driving ban. Actually, wasn't he? And he was advocating that Brendan needs to be more fearless and be more of a son of a bitch.
Right.
And the driving ban is a good start to that.
Yeah.
Just really show yourself as a bad boy.
Yeah.
By going 37 in a 30.
Yes.
The most meek bad boy move of all time.
Well, got him a ban, didn't it? Yeah. Some good candidates there, I think. I'm definitely at this stage leaning towards the Rooney suggestion, like I say, on a sort of a lifetime achievement basis, like the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame almost, isn't it? Hall of Shame, if you like. What else has been sent to us, and anybody else you want to give a mention to then?
A couple of nominations from Andy and Harrison, who've both nominated, not the same person, but essentially the same. The people that you sat near in the stadium, people who are getting really cross.
Right.
Even though we're winning 3-0, which does happen. So he says the old fella a few seats along from me against Birmingham. Every single pass, cross, tackle, shot was met with a derisory. Wrong move, you fucking idiot, or similar. He was genuinely banging the wall in front of him in a rage when Perot's free kick went over. We were 3-0 up and it was the last kick of the game.
It's nuts, isn't it?
I think those two defeats have made everyone a little bit edgy.
Yeah.
And so you just want to see perfection in a game. But you didn't need that against Birmingham. Just turning up was about enough, wasn't it?
I think it's a universal thing, isn't it? Like, so I went to that, the Man City Leipzig Champions League game. Get tickets easily enough. It's cheap enough. Went over to that and ended up sat next to a woman who'd clearly been, she was in her, what I was going to say, 70s maybe slightly older, I think. And she'd clearly seen the lot in terms of Man City. You know, she must have been there back in the main road days. And she complained incessantly about everything. Even though you're watching Jack Grealish, 100 million quid, Erling Haaland, the best number 9 in the world, there, Bernardo Silva doing Bernardo Silva things. Every single thing that they did was wrong, and she moaned about incessantly. And I wanted to tap her on the shoulder and say, listen, if you think this is bad, try being a Leeds fan for the last 20 years. And then you've experienced some lows It's not too bad now. It's been better. It's also been a lot worse. You've had it a lot. You've seen a lot worse. You've seen Man City be a joke of a team, and you've got this ridiculous. Honestly, it staggered me.
Maybe she realises it's all meaningless.
Yeah.
Struggling with it.
I think they all do, because the atmosphere was flat as a fart. It made me really proud. I mean, Ellen Road's not been great at times this season, but when it's been good, it's been absolutely outstanding.
Wayne Rooney actually did spice up the atmosphere quite a bit, I thought, just because it's you get a figure of fun, don't you? Someone you could kind of go at from the first minute.
I was
one thing or another.
I was going to say there's a shout for Blues TV for calling Crescencio Summerfield, and I was watching the second half.
Sounds like a detective series you'd see on ITV2.
It used to be a supermarket, didn't it, Summerfield?
Yeah.
I was watching the second half on that feed, and they also called Willie Noto, which I liked. But also I did actually enjoy it because when the whole stadium was singing Wayne Rooney's name and singing "You're Getting Sacked in the Morning," they were just trying their best to ignore it and talking about like whoever was playing in midfield for them or something.
That was a glorious moment, wasn't it? Like you just all eyes on the stadium, just focused on him. Everyone's looking at him just to see how he reacts, and there's nothing you can do as a manager but stand there and take it. Just stand there and take it in your shame.
Now he takes the compensation.
Well, yeah. Anybody else Birmingham related, or is that all you're picking?
I mean, Junior Firpo does get one nomination from Jelly. Says, of course, he's fitting as a Stormer at the point in the January transfer window, just in time to be our solution for the perpetual left-back issue. You lot might as well put out a mug now that'll no doubt fucking smash early February. No, he did well, the Junior, on the attacking bit.
I fear about his long-term prospects, but he was fine against Birmingham.
I did turn on the second half just as he was falling over and the attacker was getting in behind him. I was like, oh no.
Yeah, we've seen this movie before.
On Birmingham, so Bacuna and Stroud.
Yeah,
sort of a joint thing. Well, obviously Stroud's got his own separate list of crimes.
Yeah,
but Bacuna for just fouling all the time. I did check actually. Did five fouls in the game. He didn't get a yellow card.
Right,
which was Stroud's fault because he was distracted.
Yeah, thinking about
his
Emmerdale,
his Christmas ham.
Yeah. Thanks, Michael. Anyone else you want to take either a cheap shot at or anything like that, or should we spin on and pick a winner that's definitely Wayne Rooney?
That's fine by me.
Yeah, you happy with that, Rob? You fine to accept that?
Yeah, the lifetime Hall of Shame seems fair.
Superb. This might be the first time we've awarded like a lifetime-based award, I think, isn't it? A totting up, if you like, actually, which taps back into the old Stroud issue. Right, all right then. Where are we in terms of like Player of the Year now then? So we've got several more games over the Christmas break to factor into this, and we will, as we try to award Hero of the Week now, we'll factor these scores into it.
A real mixture of scores.
Yeah.
Ranging from, what's the highest of the period? I think we got a 9.07 with Somerville against Ipswich, down as low as a 2.1 for Meslier in his red card game. So yeah, it's been a mixed bag. But from that has emerged a new candidate for Player of the Year.
Right.
Chris Clarkson, second place.
Right.
One game, 7.03.
Right. Which is neck and neck with Dan James and Joe Roden. We've both done 22.
So if he can play all right against Peterborough, he's in with the chance.
Yeah.
Wow. And if we have a really bad end to the season, or Somerville being sold will probably be his best bet for winning this.
Right.
In January.
Is that what you're advocating for?
Because then his 7.28 will be locked in, won't it? But yeah, it's interesting.
We just need to slowly drag the scores down. It is the one consolation that if this season just goes to shit now, our Player of the Year might be Chris Clarkson, which part of me would enjoy quite a lot.
But yeah, the players of the match in the games over Christmas: Somerville for Ipswich, Stroud for Preston, Rodon for West Brom, and then Rutter for Birmingham.
Yeah, but a range of Scott. I mean, like Rodon as man of the match for West Brom got 5.75 out of 10, whereas you're talking, like I say, Northern 9 for the Ipswich game and 8.66 for Rutter against Birmingham. Yeah.
And I mean, when we win, the thing is, when we win, everyone does well. Because who was the least, who played the least minutes in that game? Gruev, probably. He got 6.44, which was more than Rodon got as man of the match against West Brom. And I think he came on did he come on for 10 minutes or something? Probably got booked.
Right.
So,
Well, we'll factor all that in, or at least pretend to, when we award the Gaetano Berardi Hero of the Week award now then. Hero of the Week, just one of those we can pick out of the candidates. We can give some formal commendations. We can doff the cap if we like as well. So where do you want to start?
I would like to nominate Georgie Rutter. I know it seems like an obvious choice, but he's been the most fun thing about Christmas, because even in those defeats, we had him dribbling from one penalty area to the other at Preston, and he's just generally ace. He looks like he's having the most fun in the world while he's doing it. He was brilliant at the weekend. And also, after the Ipswich game, I saw him in town and he wished me Merry Christmas. And it was genuinely the happiest moment of my life. I was so giddy.
Take us through the full interaction.
So I think he was walking towards John Lewis. I don't know if he was doing some like last minute Christmas shopping or something, but it was just on his own, just casually.
John Lewis, what's the most outrageous thing you own in here?
He still believes.
Yeah.
He's not doing shopping. He's like, I've written my letter. If everyone's written the letters, everything's going to be fine.
He's got his Santa Please Stop Here sign outside. But yeah, he was just walking on his own. Nobody was bothering him. And I've written about it for the blog, because it's funny when you see Leeds players out of context, like out in the wild. And I often think, I shouldn't really bother him because it's probably a pain in the arse.
I get the sense that Jorginho loves being like seeing people saying, "Oh, Georgie, you're great," and whatever.
Well, yeah, we'd just beaten Ipswich 4-0. Everything felt great. I was quite drunk, and he walked past me, and before I even knew it, I was like, Georgie. And he looked over, and I realised I didn't know what to say, so I just gave him a little Leeds salute, and he just started giggling and wished me a Merry Christmas, and I was like, "Oh, I love you." And then I was a bit like, can I follow him? Because it dawned on me afterwards.
Can I follow him?
Well, it dawned on me afterwards. I was wearing a pin badge, and it's a little rabbit poking its head out of a top hat, and it says Leeds are magic. And I was like, should I run after him and give him this? And I was like, nah, it's just a bit weird, isn't it? That's why I opted against it.
Chasing a young man around Leeds City Centre.
Just get to witness him immediately put it in a bin. Oh, thanks very much. See ya.
Merci beaucoup. Off you go.
But yeah, it was genuinely amazing.
The clip that the club shared of him was nice when, I don't even know at what point in the game it was, but there's just a ball played out to him on the right wing, and he could just control it normally, but because he's Jorginho, he does the little backwards flick thing with it when he gets it, and you think that's just him all over. Yeah. We're just doing it. Why have you done that? That'd be fun.
It's great because obviously Farke was saying after the game that, he needs to not take the piss with his tricks and whatever. But he did that touch right after Farke had got a round of applause for his touch, and I think he's just pissed Farke off for like stealing his thunder, basically.
Just having a bit of a laugh at Farke's expense. He reminds me of me as a kid enjoying football as a kid, and you remember he is a kid, just having the time of his life. He had a shit time when he first got here, thrown completely to the wolves, trying to, as the guy thrown into this situation to try and save us, completely out of his depth and his comfort zone at that point. And then slowly but surely he's just turned it round, and he's just having a great time, and he makes me so happy watching him.
As Philip says, I hope he stays forever and then manages us for decades. It's not too much to hope for, is it?
Even if we end up in non-league, if Georginio Ruto was in the dugout, just smiling and having a laugh every week, I'd love it.
I think if we're in non-league, we're not going to be enjoying his managerial stint. No.
Would it have gone bad?
If we plummeted through the leagues with him giggling his way.
Still bringing himself on as a sub.
Oh dear me.
Yeah, but I enjoy his playing for football for now, so that's enough.
Yeah.
It's all we can ask of Leeds footballers, isn't it?
Yeah, enjoy the here and now and be nice to us. Yeah. Patrick Bamford?
He's my nomination. Yeah. Because it's his best game in 2 years.
Right.
Because that's as far back as our data goes.
Yeah.
8.05 was his score, and he did get higher in cup games. That's his highest league score for ages. And he was actually good. Hit the post, had he not scored, you see that hitting the post and you go, it's Pat Bamford. He's never going to score. Because he scored, you go, no, he didn't do badly there. It was a good effort.
And it wasn't a chance where you'd necessarily say he should be putting that in. He just, he put his foot through it at that particular moment, and he was a bit unlucky, wasn't he?
Yeah. And I think the other thing, which is important, that Jez has highlighted as well, for not being a dick when he scored, just looked genuinely happy when he scored. There was no ear cupping, there was no fingers in ears, no sort of angry gesture or anything, just happy. Just be pleased with it.
As a secondary nomination, I want to nominate Ruta again for the way that he celebrates goals. Because if you look at the artwork that we've used for the podcast after the Birmingham game, it's of Ruta doing the point above Bamford's head, and it's a thing of beauty. He's having a nice time, looking at all his mates having a nice time, and I think he's rubbing off on the rest of them. And you saw it when he went down the tunnel and saw Stuart Dallas in there. Was it Dallas who chastised him for doing the flick, even though the flick had happened ages ago? It's like, be careful with that, Georgie, But beautiful footballer.
Anyway, we're talking about Pat Bamford here.
Yeah.
Why do you not want him to win?
I love Jorginho Ruto.
Yeah, I mean, that's a fair point, I suppose. But yeah, I thought it was the most useful we've seen Bamford for a long time.
Yeah,
which I think was in some ways reassuring, but he needs to follow it up, I suppose, as well, doesn't he?
And he scored your basic championshipy goal, which you've been asking for.
Yeah. Just a big header at the back post.
It wasn't that big, were it, really?
To lean.
He was a good...
Yeah,
it was a good leap.
Artie Fufkin mentions Chris Clausen, our new potential Player of the Year candidate, for being reasonably good today and looking like a drummer from an early 90s. I think that's supposed to say new metal band, but it says bi-metal band, B-Y metal band. But I think that's the old autocorrect, that, isn't it?
Yeah, it was a surprise, that haircut.
Yeah. A bit like Pat Bamford's as well.
Seemed to work.
Any other people you want to mention?
I like Nigef's nomination of Junior Firpo. All it says is if he could defend, he'd be worth £50 million.
I have just sorry to return to Georgie again, but if he could finish, he'd be worth 100 million, wouldn't he?
He wouldn't be playing for us if he could finish, quite frankly.
This is true.
Rodon needs a nomination as well, I think. Andy says organised and covered for Cooper, Firpo and Archie Gray as a one-man back four. That's not a slight on the other three, but he's just so consistently good. Yeah. And he's absolutely right, because he does, I think by being the fastest of them, he just seems to always be the one who charges across and snuffs out danger. So yeah, he's. I feel like we could have probably done with that last year when we were looking very slow at the back and needed a hell of a lot of cover because the full-backs were elsewhere.
Well, speaking of last year, Andy does go on to say if we have to let him leave to pay Verba's wages after Rodon heads in the winner in the playoff final, I'm going to shit in Jesse Marsh's bins, which is fair enough. Are we giving some formal commendations to the Birmingham lot for keeping Wayne Rooney?
Yes. Yeah, for keeping him for at least till we can... Because it was unfair, really, of them to make us face John Eustace earlier in the year. So they're going, and I've checked their fixtures, actually. They still have to play Ipswich and Southampton. So we've...
Get your act together now.
So, and it's not till... I think it's end of Feb, start of March. They're playing back-to-back. So if they get a good manager in now, there's time to get them organised for those.
I really hope they hire Jesse Marsh.
I think that would also be funny. Do we want them to be good and not take points off people we need?
It's tough, isn't it, how it lines up with our moral compass?
Although I suppose if they were to hire Marsh, he wouldn't be able to come back to Ellen Road, would he? So they've missed that boat.
Oh, that would be really poisonous.
So well done to Georgi and Wayne for being our hero of the week. Are we rolling with that?
I think so. I think it's fair enough.
Yeah, fine. Well, there you go. That does wrap up the show for this week. Hope you've had fun. Thank you for joining us. And let's go drive at 30 and a 30, shall we, on our way home? Like good boys. We'll see you soon.
The Square Ball Podcast.